Yugi Bros!
What's up, my Yugi Bros? It's Connor. Little disclaimer before we start this video. This week's weekly giveaway item is a match of the Millennium Starter Deck. All you have to do to enter said giveaway is both like this video and all other videos with the weekly giveaway item on the sidebar of said video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, of course, and last but not least, answer the daily question provided that is randomly placed in each video promoting said giveaway. But with that out of the way, now back to your regularly scheduled content. What's up, Yugi Bros? I got another duel video for you guys today. This time we're taking a look at Magicians, or more importantly, Dark Red Enchanter, and Water. And I know y'all know my love for Water. So let's get into this, shall we? Alright. So quick thing before I begin, right in the beginning of our game 2, dueling book went down, so we recreated the rest of the match starting over, but we started pre-sided, so it's like we would have went into game 2 the right way, so don't fret about that. It's just that's the only reason there won't be previous info regarding game 1. So we elected to actually go with It's My Lucky Day. I know it's an interesting choice. I'll cover it more when I go over the deck profile at the end. But basically, the thought process is the cards to fill this deck up take a lot of space. So then playing Dust Tornado and stuff is very awkward. I felt it was just better to go off the standard old It's My Lucky Day Dice Foon combo package. But the upside is we have Apprentice Magician, which can also summon Time Wizard, which we're going to side here. That way we can set the Time Wizard off Apprentice Magician if we need to get it out of the deck, to also play basically a side decked Regeki, which is kind of cool. Opposing us is Water. Now I know you guys know my love for Water. I've been trying to make Daedalus relevant since its release originally way back in set 2, Attack from the Deep. I feel like of all the Water skills, there's so many upsides and downsides to all three of them. However, I think Terror from the Deep is probably the best one. The second one being the one that works with Legendary Fisherman, and the last one being my favorite one, which just really isn't that great, but I like it for its optimum ability, which is, I think it's the Greatest Fisherman, the one that lets you swap things from hand and grave. But Terror in the Deep, this is the one that says activate the skill during your main phase while you control Kairyu-Daedalus. When the skill is activated, you can activate Yumi directly from your hand, deck, or graveyard. While you control Kairyu-Daedalus, all water monsters you control are unaffected by trap cards. And if Kairyu-Daedalus you control leaves the field, draw 2 cards and flip this over. What I really like about this is it's not once per duel. So with the Legendary Fisherman one, you're limited to once per duel. If I get rid of Legendary Fisherman, that's it. And this protects you from traps, which is just really strong. If this had come out like maybe a set or two earlier from where it came out, it probably would have been a little bit better. I think the last set was a little too late for it. But either way, Water's been really slow this entire time anyway, so I mean, maybe it just doesn't really matter. And for the people that don't know what It's My Lucky Day does, when you activate an effect that would roll a 6-sided dice or flip a coins, you can pay 1,000 life points to decide the result of that one die or coin. You can only use that effect once per duel. So, kicking it off, they opened Kairyu-Daedalus, Offerings of the Doomed, Levy Dragon Daedalus, and Slushy. We opened 2 Offerings of the Doomed, Supply Squad, and Dark Red Enchanter. Reason I'm playing Supply Squad in this, there's a lot of things, like, there's a lot of little monsters in this that kind of just die off to do other things, so you might as well get extra benefits from it with Supply Squad. And Offerings of the Doomed, I feel like, as I've talked about in previous videos, needs no explanation. I just think the card's really strong. This card, I feel, single-handedly got rid of everyone playing Eradicating Aerosol, because now instead of board wiping everything, you can control what you wipe, and even though you can't do your draw phase, I feel like this card, for example, offsets that really well. But even if you're not playing Supply Squad, as long as you have the advantage, the draw phase, the one draw isn't the end of the world. And in Water, I feel like this deck didn't really have very good spot removal as it was. This was kind of your end-all be-all end-game play. But it didn't have like a mid-game or an early game play. Offerings of the Doom kind of fixes that. And you'll see later in this duel, Water also benefits off Supply Squad because it has a lot of monsters that need to die in order to do effects, so you might as well benefit off of those the most. So, they'll start off with Slushy. Slushy will move Slushy. And they're one Slushy away from Slushying all of us. Sorry. Both of these are Slushy targets, by the way, which is really good. I think that makes this card a whole lot better. And why I think that skill is probably the best of the three. So we draw Rogue Doll. We're playing Rogue Doll as a one-of. It's the normal spellcaster for Legion, the Fiend Jester, which I'll get to eventually when we draw it. We're going to activate Supply Squad, normal summon the Rogue Doll. We're going to set 1 offerings instead of 2. That way, if we need to pop this, granted, I don't think we need to pop this in any situation. But also, if they do pull off a Levia, since we see the Slushy, we know they probably are playing Levia. If they do pull off the Daedalus package play with Yumi early game, and this isn't enough to stop them, I wouldn't want them to destroy both. I don't know. It's just being conservative here. We're going to have Rogue Doll swing in. They're actually going to Offerings to the Doomed right off the bat, so we get Squad's effect, but little do we know the reason is so they contribute for the Kairyu. So we draw Squad with Squad. We're only playing 2 Squad, but we drew both. We have both early. So they don't draw. They summon Kairyu. They'll flip the skill. The skill lets them activate Yumi from the deck, which is pretty good. Really good if they can get this out. They're 1 Slushy away from doing that. So Yumi will pump that up by 200, and they'll go into battle phase and swing for 2,000. Keep in mind, if we get rid of this, the skill does flip. However, they do get 2 cards out of it if... There's a motorcycle in the background. If Kairyu leaves the field. So, we're going to draw a second Dark Red Enchanter, which is a real pain, because the point is to drop this once you have all the defenses. But go figure, we opened both immediately. We're going to set Offerings to the Doom and pass. This way, at least with 2 Offerings to the Dooms, you skip your next draw phase, but you don't skip the next 2 draw phases if you use both of them for the same draw phase, which is kind of cute. So we figure they summon a monster, which they do. Now we're going to flip both Offerings. We'll get rid of Shin. They'll get the 2 draws and the skill flips. And then we'll get rid of the Screech, which is actually really strong, because if we killed this by battle, they'd be able to send 2 waters from deck to the grave. So this prevents them from doing so. And we skip 1 draw phase for the price of 2. Unfortunately, we don't have anything, so we're going to bluff the Supply Squad and pass. But we know it's water, so unless they can drop the Levia real quick, they shouldn't win. Or at least they shouldn't kill us. So they draw a Yomi ship, which isn't going to do them any good here. They're going to set Fishborg Planter. They still have 4,000 life points, so it makes sense. I get that you could set this, but if your plan is to keep board presence, you might as well set this. If it dies, then you can have a chance to bring it back from the graveyard the following turn, especially if you draw another Shin, which would be really good. And they're going to set Offerings to the Doomed. We're going to draw a Magician of Faith. It's not fantastic, but it definitely works, and it gets us an Offerings to the Dooms back. So I'm all for it. We're going to flip the second Supply Squad, set Magician of Faith. We do this preemptively because, not that anything destroys things if you set them. I don't think in Speed Duels currently. But if you preemptively do this and like summon a monster and then they immediately get rid of it, at least you'll draw 2 right away. Which is nice. Assuming they destroyed it by Battle of the Card effect. So they draw Supply Squad. They'll activate Supply Squad. And now they're kind of setting on a good defense play here. Because that way, if this dies, they draw a card, then this puts it in the grave where you want it to be. They're going to set the Yomi ship. So they have an out to, if we attack it. We draw the 3rd Red Enchanter. And yes, anyone that's looking at this and being like, that's overkill, you're right, it is overkill. But the deck doesn't have any other means of beat sticks, so to speak. And I feel like there's no other spellcasters in this game that are 1 tribute that are good. DMG, I feel like, is more like you need to play it in a glorified, in a very determined Dark Magician deck, and even then the card's not that great. At least this one gets 300 attack for each spell counter. I don't know. Thought process was there. But in this case, we're going to have Magician of Faith flip, get our Offerings to the Doomed back. We're going to tribute it for our Dark Red Enchanter. Enchanter says when it's normal summoned, you get 2 spell counters on it. Each time a spell is activated, you get to place another spell counter on this card when that spell resolves. This card gains 300 attack for each spell counter on it, so this thing can get really big. Dude, all the motorcycles. But this, so it comes out at 23 because of the 2 spell counters. However, also, once per turn, you can remove 2 spell counters from this card to discard a random card from your opponent's hand. And we don't know it, but that would be a really bad thing, assuming they get the 3rd Slushy, but a really good thing if they draw Big Wave, Small Wave. It's very situational. On summon, however, they're going to activate Offerings to the Doomed, getting rid of the Dark Red Enchanter so we don't hit this, which, as of right now, they can hard tribute this, so I guess I understand that. Both our squads will activate off of Offerings to the Doomed. God, that's the tongue twister. And then we'll set Offerings to the Doomed. We could have Dice Fooned, but our thought process is if we have Offerings to the Doomed, and they're going to summon a Levia next turn, we can out the Levia right there, and then our follow-up play gets these 2. So, assuming they don't get 2 Levias, like if they didn't summon one and then get one off like Slushy. But looking back, I think I should have just Dice Fooned both anyway. Sure, to put us at 1,000, but that's not really a big deal when it comes to where we're at currently. I think my thought process was if they summon like a Screech, they would just kill us, so maybe... Like, if they had the Screech and a Levia, so that's why we hesitated on it. But they don't draw because of Offerings. They're going to tribute both their monsters for Levia Dragon. And because we know this is the end-all, be-all, we'll lose the gameplay, on summon, 2 on summon plays here, Offerings to the Doomed. This card is so good, guys. So good. So good. Plus, with Supply Squad, it counters it offsets it, I should say, really well. So that, yeah, you don't get your draw phase, but these have given you extra quote-unquote draw phases anyway. So, you know, it's not really the end of the world. They'll get a draw there off of their squad, but they're forced to pass because they already hard normal summoned. We don't draw because of Offerings, but that's fine. We already have what we need. So we normal summon Legion. We get Legion's effect. Legion says, during your main phase, you can tribute summon 1 spellcaster monster in face-up attack position in addition to your normal summon set, which is why I wrote extra tribute summon there when I was dueling. What's cool about this card, too, is that if it's sent from the field to the grave, you can add a normal spellcaster monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is why we play the Rogue Doll. If it didn't say graveyard too, I probably wouldn't consider playing the Rogue Doll, but getting back a free monster, in my opinion, is never a bad thing. So this will come out with 2 counters. Because there's no main phase 2, you have to determine whether or not you're going to use this thing before you battle. In regular Yu-Gi-Oh! You could swing for 23, main phase 2, use its effect, discard a card. But because there is none main phase 2, we're just going to discard the card. Then we're going to activate Dice Foon and use It's My Lucky Day. So we'll pay the 1,000 to guarantee get rid of both of these. And then once Dice Foon finishes resolving, Red Enchanter gets another counter, putting it up to 2,000. So now we've left them on nothing, and we're going to swing in for 2,000, which is half the game right there. So now they're top decking. Yes, they have Fishborg Planter, I believe, as an option. They set the Offerings and pass. I think they forgot they had Fishborg Planter. So that's something they could have done. If this is in the graveyard once, you can send the top card from your deck to the grave. Then if it's a water monster, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. But they didn't do that. If they did do that, however, they probably would have survived this because we drew another Legion. So we're just going to normal that, use the extra tribute summon, get another Dark Red Enchanter, and go in for game. They can only get rid of one of our monsters, but if they had the Fishborg Planter, they could block both. However, they'd still be top decking, so it depends what they draw. However, looking forward through this, right? They milled the top card just to see what they'd hit, and I don't think they should have done this. It would have been good to wait until the end of the match. They milled Metal Reflex Slime, which if they had drawn that the following turn and set it at 3,000 defense, we would have a huge problem getting over that. We'd have to play more spell cards to get one of these babies strong enough to get over that. And that's a really cool tech. I like that also because it's a water go figure, so you can use it with stuff like Big Wave, Small Wave. You can also get extra draws if it dies, and it can be a tribute summon for this or this, most likely this though. But interesting, just 3,000 in wall in a deck that doesn't have a lot of defense. That's actually a cute card. I like that a lot. So we go into the rematch, and it cuts out. So we, like I said in the beginning of the video, we recreated essentially. We start with sided game, and we give Water the chance to choose what they want to do. They choose to go first, which makes kind of a lot of sense because they need to set up. So they're going to start with Screech, activate Supply Squad, set Offerings to the Doomed, and pass. They open the one of Yumi. It's a one of because that's who gets it from the hand, deck, or graveyard, so you don't need more than that. But they opened it. So it could be good if they get a Levia play early, but otherwise it's kind of a dead card. We opened Undertaker, Double Supply Squad, and Dust Tornado, which is cute if we had a monster in the grave, but we don't. So... we draw. Well, now we do. Perfect. We'll use Legion. We're going to activate Double Supply Squad. Normal summon our Legion. Set our Dust Tornado. Beautifully sided Dust Tornado. We're siding this because of this. Well-timed Dust Tornado is always good against water. And we're going to have Legion swing in. So, what's cute about these is they're both mandatory. And they're both ifs. So they get to choose it however they want. So they're going to have Squad go as chain 2. So they'll draw first, and then they'll use Screech. Which I like, because that way you get to see what you draw before you know what you want to dump. And it makes a huge difference, because they'll draw Slushy, which means now with this, they can send a Slushy, and whatever they want to reborn with it, to the graveyard. Because this, being normal summoned, will then get them the other Slushy, so they'll have all they need. It's a good way to do that, because otherwise if you did Screech first, you'd likely send 2 Slushies just so you'd have the play. Or you do that same thing, but maybe send the Keroshin instead, but they sent the Levia because they have the Yumi. So it's a really good thing we have the Dust Tornado, just saying. Amazing how some things work out. So they're going to normal summon the Slushie here, send the third, and they're going to pass. And they kept an Offerings in hand. I don't know if they needed to keep that in hand, unless they were really worried that they needed this zone. I'm not sure. But right now they want this to die, so we're going to use Legion's effect extra summon to tribute, which just happens during the main phase, which is really nice. So we don't have to burn our normal summon here. So we summon this with the 2 counters. Legion will get us a Rogue Doll. So then we can normal the Rogue Doll, or set this, because we haven't normal summoned yet. We used Legion's Tribute Summon effect. On the summon, the theme of this video, they're gonna Offerings of the Doomed the Dark Red Enchanter. Which sucks, but it makes sense, because they want to keep this. So that when they use Slushy's effect, when this finally dies, they can get this out. Squads, however, give us 2 draws. So we're going to normal summon a Rogue Doll. We have a Rogue Doll swing over Slushy. So they will take the 1600, and Squad will give them a draw, which is a Squad. Both decks are playing 2 Squads, by the way. Dueling Book apparently just loves us opening all the Squads. I'm not sure. So, they can't draw because they Offerings. Fine with them. They managed to Slushy. Summon the boy. Levia Dragon. Here we go. Then they activate the Yumi. That would be detrimental for us if we didn't have Dust Tornado. So we'll destroy the Yumi, and they'll set Offerings. They'll activate second Supply Squad, because at this point, why not? All the Supply Squads are in the game. Now, every time a monster dies by battle of the card effect, somebody draws 2. Seems really insane. Especially in speed duels, when your deck is half the normal. Levia will swing over Rogue. We'll take 1,000, and we'll draw a dose. They'll pass. We draw for turn. We'll normal summon Copycat. This thing's really cute. We play it as a one-of because we play Undertaker and Apprentice Magician, so we can get this out of the deck really fast if we wanted to. We're going to have it copy Levia Dragon stats. So now we have a 2615. We're going to set Offerings of the Doomed, and we're going to crash. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why crash? Well, we could have just offerings to this and then swung for game. I don't know. That would have been a really smart play. But in this case, they had the offerings to the doomed anyway, so it actually wouldn't have made a difference. We drew Triceratops, which give me 1 second. Alright, we play this because, in addition to our tribute summons, why not play a piercing tribute summon? If we can get all these monsters on the field through Apprentice's Magicians, no one's going to see this coming. Then you drop this, especially if they're defending, which against this deck actually happens a lot. And we drop this, and we just do massive piercing damage. I don't know. That was the thought process behind it. So they don't draw, but they don't care. They swing for 26. We're going to flip our offerings to the doomed. We offerings their Levia, they draw 2. They get Big Wave, Small Wave, and Screech. It's actually really good. We draw, and then we throw it back because we forgot to collect the do not draw option. Plus, at this point, we don't really want to draw. We draw on 2 every time something dies. We only have 8 cards left in our deck. They only have 9 cards left in the deck. Yeah, so it gets scary. But I'm playing 2 instead of 1 because I want to open it. You know, I want to open it, but after I open it and use it like 2 or 3 times, I don't want to ever see it again. So when you draw the second one, it kind of sucks. But if you play 1, there's a really good chance you don't open it. So yeah, it's like a give and take. They're gonna draw a second Screech. We sent our Undertaker, by the way. They're gonna normal the Screech. They're gonna slushy the Levia back, and they're gonna go in. Now the reason Screech doesn't swing, which makes sense, is they don't want to swing into Legion. Legion's got 15 defense, so nothing would happen. So they're going to have Levia swing. It's Undertaker. And, I mean, the thought process was we'll summon this and then get extra normal summon or whatever, but we can also do this, which is cute because they have a Levia. So we'll have Undertaker summon back Copycat in defense mode. Actually, we could have summoned in attack mode, but I actually wanted to not, because if this died, they could send 2 more waters and draw 2 more cards, and it would come out at 15 defense, so I thought this worked out perfectly. Oh, yeah. Also, how that chain link worked is Taker. It went squad, Taker. So Taker's effect, then the squads. And then Copycat copies Levia. And then we draw return. And now we have 5 cards left in deck. And this is where we need to push. We need to push really bad. We're going to normal Legion. We're going to tribute it for Dark Red Enchanter. We're going to get it up to 23. We're going to have Dark Red swing into Screech, activate Offerings to the Doomed, pop the Levia Dragon, boosting it by 300 as well. They get the draws, but who cares? This is 1100 here because our boy's at 26. I'm going to have Copycat at 26, swing for game. Oh, they're resolving Screech, okay. And yeah, that's that. So, there's a lot to take in here. Water, in my opinion, Water got better with more defensive plays, more draws, and that Metal Reflex line we never saw again. This deck got more hilarious with arguably the same stuff, but let's get into the deck profiles. It's that point in the video where I ask the question of the day, which is, what do you think the best skill is currently? Leave your answer in the comments down below, and back to the video. So, for the Dark Red Enchanter deck, I keep calling it Dre's Apprentice, Dark Red Enchanter's Apprentice. We play the 1 Rogue Doll, the 1 Triceratops that hopefully no one sees coming, triple Dark Red Enchanter. Yes, I should probably cut one of these, because we don't need this much tribute summons, but it was a cute tech idea. Triple Legion, triple Apprentice Magician, 1 Undertaker, 1 Old Vindictive, 1 Magician of Faith, 1 Copycat, double Supply Squad, triple Offerings to the Doomed, and double Dice Foon. With It's My Lucky Day, obviously. This is for Legion. I could play 2 of these, but I feel like opening this and this is really strong, so you want to play 3. You only need 1 of each of these, I feel like. The arguable one you could put back to 2 is Undertaker, because it special summons level 4 lower spellcasters from your grave, and it doesn't have to be in defense, which is why I really, really like that. But the card is really slow early game, so we tend to just play the 1. Triple Offerings to the Doomed. Now, I understand that sounds like overkill, and we have Faith, so it's like we're playing 4 almost. But it's more or less you just kind of want to open it. You want to have that defensive play just in case. And the Double Dice Foon is standard when it comes to It's My Lucky Day. We have supply squads, so I don't feel bad about playing 22 cards. As you saw, you can draw a lot anyways. The side deck is the one Santa Claus. You will see me side this in almost everything. I just like it as a 1 card out. One Byzer Shock. We're playing this because, again, we have the necessary infinite options to float on. So then we contribute some in this against something that sets a lot of stuff and return all the cards to the hand. That was at least the thought process behind it. The one Time Wizard. I love that this card has extra ability through Apprentice Magician and Undertaker in this deck. It's really fun like that. One Spell Shattering Arrow. I just feel like this is a generically good side deck card right now. One Dust Tornado. I mean, we have Dice Foons, so I don't feel like we need much more Spell and Trap hate, but the Dust Tornado's there just in case. And I sided Avarice only because I wasn't maining it because I don't like opening this card. It's really bad. I would prefer to just never play this card if I don't have to. But if it came to a point where I felt we needed the extra recursion, I threw it in the side deck. Normally this would be Awakening the Dragon, but I just wanted to test it out just to see what would happen. Opposing us was the Kairyu Levia Dragon deck. Played 2 Kairyu, 2 Levia Dragon-Daedalus, 3 Slushy, 3 Screech, 1 Fishborg Planter, 1 Yomi Ship, 1 Yumi, 2 Big Wave Small Wave, 2 Supply Squad, Triple Offerings to the Doomed, and 1 Metal Reflex Slime. 2 instead of 3 just because once you have it, you have it. I don't want to see more than one of these, and once you put it in the graveyard, you're fine, but I don't like 1 either, because then you just never have ways to get to it. We're playing Big Wave, so that's a way to hit it, but also this is a way to hit it through Screech. So I like the 2. Double Levia, same kind of logic. I was playing 1 Levia, but I bumped it to 2 because the deck doesn't have a beat stick outside of these. And yeah, I guess I probably could play like a normal Monster Water just to give it a beat stick. But I like having the extra just versatility with this card through this card especially, and of course Slushy. Triple Slushy is obvious. Triple Screech, I feel you want to see this early game. It's kind of like the other deck. You want to set this up with this, and that way you're getting something out of it plus 2 waters to the graveyard. Fishborg just acts as an extra defensive wall plus a tribute for something like this and a lesser extent to this. Yomi Ship's a good spot removal card. I just feel like it's too good not to play. The 1 Yumi, because the skill gets it, recurs it. 2 Big Wave, 3 Clogs in my opinion. We don't need 3. Double Supply Squad, like I gave my reasoning on that earlier. Yes, again, this sounds like overkill, but with this deck, you have literally no defensive plays / spot removal plays outside of this or your end game with this. But you can't always rely on this or rely on like just this getting over things, so you need some kind of play. And I love this card in here as a one of. I definitely won't change that for now. I like the synergy because it's an aqua water. It works with this, which I think is really strong, but it also can just be a tribute summon, which is nice. And the side deck for that is the 1 Santa Claus. We cited Mario Kati, or Mario Kotai. I'm butchering it. I know I am. During your opponent's turn, when your opponent activates a spell card quick effect, you contribute this card, negate the activation, and destroy it. It's not bad. It's kind of cool. I don't hate the card. I just think because this deck has such a problem putting multiple monsters on the field, maybe if we played like Water Hazard, we could play this a little bit more effectively. That way we could stop the next spell they play. But the idea was there. 1 Night Beam because this deck loves to just go off on one turn. 1 Dust Tornado, same reason. It's a little bit slower though. I feel like it's just generic. Spell Shattering Arrow, like I said, it's just generic. Awaken the Dragon, yeah, you know. So guys, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Leave them down in the comment section down below. Do you like, love, hate anything in either of these decks? Do you think you have a more efficient way to play Water or Spellcasters? Please let me know. Like, subscribe as always, hit that notification bell to get all of our latest updates, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Yu-Gi Bros out.